Alright, you lot, how's it going? Bloody lovely day out there, and it's not a bad day in here either. Glow plugs is the topic of conversation for today. I had a question. Can you tell how an engine's running from what the glow plug looks like? Much like you can with a spark plug. I haven't got a spark plug. Let me get a spark plug and I can show you the difference between a spark plug and a glow plug. 2 seconds. Luckily, I've got a drawer of spark plugs here. We'll use this one as an example, and we'll get a glow plug out of the glow plug drawer. Where is the glow plug drawer? Glow plug drawer. There's the glow plug drawer. Oh, Margaret's fallen over. Sorry, Margaret. Right. Oh, I thought I had one. I thought I had one that was out and about already, but I didn't. There it is. Right, glow plug. This is a glow plug. This is what you find in your glow engine in your Nitro car. And it literally does what it says on the tin. It's a little plug. It's got a little element on the inside of it, and that glows. When you put power to the back, the little element in there, sometimes it's quite shy and it doesn't like being in focus, but there we go. And that glows. I'll demonstrate that later. Let me just turn the other lights on. And this is a spark plug. You find these in your petrol engines. If you've got an RC car which is petrol powered, 2-stroke, you know, petrol, or 4-stroke, you'll have a spark plug. Nearly the same. A few thousand volts goes through here, whereas this only takes 1.2 roughly. It can take a bit more, but roughly 1.2 volts to get this to glow, whereas this, in order to spark properly, takes several thousand volts. And in between that electrode and whatever that thing's called, slipped my mind. Do you ever get that? You know exactly what things are, but when you want to say them, they run away from your mind, and you think, now I look stupid. Happens to me all the time. There's a name for that, but I can't remember that either. Ironic, I know. Anyway, back to this. So, anyway, in between that, in that gap, there will be a spark. That's sparking. Yeah, the blue spark is best, but an orange spark will work, but the power of the engine won't be as much. A nice blue spark is the best. For the glow plug, you want it to glow nice and orange. It will only glow orange, it won't ever glow blue. If it glows blue, well, maybe you've got some kind of super plug. I can't get it to focus. You want it to glow all the way to the very end. Now, with a spark plug, for years and years, and even to the modern day, you can tell how the engine's running based on the look of the plug when you take it out. If the whole end of the plug is black, you're running reasonably rich. Too much fuel, not enough air. And the reason it's black is because the petrol going in isn't being burned fully. It's only being partially burned. Black smoke is partially burned fuel. And black soot on the plug is partially burned fuel as well. Now, if it's really black and furry, that means you're really, really rich. If it's wet, again, it's extremely rich. If it's like a white colour, if the electrode inside there and also the end of it here is white, that means that it's too lean and it's not got enough fuel and too much air. If the electrode in the middle there is brown and all this is a bit browny tint to it, much like this one is, I don't know whether it's coming up on the camera or not. Can you see the brown tint on the in the middle bit there? That indicates that this engine that this plug was in was running really well. In fact, it was near enough spot on, because the brown indicates a good running condition. Okay, so you can get an idea of how healthy your engine is and how it's running from the look of the plug. The same does go for glow plugs to an extent. You don't ever hear anyone, I mean, for example, if you ask someone for your petrol engine, whether it be your real size car, your strimmer, your lawnmower, your RC car, if you ask someone, how can I tell how the engine's running? Excuse me, they won't cough at you, but they'll say, have a look at the plug. Take the plug out and have a look, and they'll tell you what I've just told you. They will tell you that if they know what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, and they're not old school, they'll probably tell you some other bollocks that you don't need to know about. But that's the good way of doing it. So, you don't ever hear anybody in the Nitro world tell you to take the plug out and have a look at it. That's because, well, you can get an idea of how an engine's running from the glow plug, but not massively. When they're too lean, they don't go white. That being said, I have noticed over the years, with a lean engine that I know is lean, the element inside there does go slightly white. So, for me, I would look at that and go, oh, it's running a bit lean. But that can also be because the element is wearing out. So it's not a solid indicator, because when these little elements wear out, there's a little ceramic. It's probably not ceramic. I shouldn't say that. Again, the name of it slipped my mind. I think I'm getting dementia. Anyway, when it wears out, it can go a little bit discoloured, and it can start to sag a little bit inside the plug. So I'm not going to say to you that that's a definite indication, but for me, I do look at that. But if you're a beginner, don't look at that and go, oh, my engine's lean, because it might not be. One thing you can look at, however, is if there's loads of black soot around the outside of that element, on the outside of it. So, for example, if I can ever get it to focus on the bloody thing. Focus, please. Thank you very much. If all around on the top there is quite black, it will indicate that the engine is running quite rich. But you'll know that anyway from the smoke and everything. But it will indicate it is running quite rich. And equally, if you take the plug out and it's wet, then it'll indicate that it is also quite rich. Now, don't get that confused with wetness of oil, because remember, Nitro has oil in it to lubricate the engine. So there will be some residue of oil on the end of the plug. However, if the engine's running quite well or optimally, it should burn most of that oil off. So you won't have a lot of it on the plug, but there could be some. So just because the plug is a little bit wet doesn't mean that it is rich or unhealthy. It just means it's getting enough oil, I suppose. But I wouldn't necessarily go by gospel on this glow plug. You can tell, and it will give you a little indication, but not like a spark plug. A spark plug on a petrol engine is a massive indication on how healthy or how well the engine is running. With a nitro engine, in my opinion, not really. It can, as I've said, but not by gospel. The real things you need to be looking at and listening for with a nitro engine, particularly when you're trying to find out whether it's running healthily, or if it's a healthy engine, or if it's just running okay, is the sounds. If it sounds quite deep and just sounds healthy, it's healthy. If it responds well, it's healthy. If it sounds really deep and it sounds as if it's gurgling or underwater, I suppose, it could be too rich. Too rich. If it's giggling, it sounds like it's giggling. It sounds like it's giggling, yeah? Too lean. Simple as that. If there's loads of smoke, big clouds of smoke, and when you accelerate, it's quite sluggish, but loads of smoke comes out. And it goes, and it tries to go, but it's too rich. You should always have a cloud of smoke. Any two-stroke engine, apart from two-stroke diesels, obviously, because a two-stroke diesel engine has oil in the sump. It doesn't have oil in the diesel. So, although it being two-stroke, it doesn't actually have any oil in the diesel. It's got a sump, like a four-stroke engine. So they're different. But a two-stroke engine other than that one has oil in the fuel, and nitro is the same. So there will always be smoke. If there is no smoke, you're too lean, unless you've got a fuel which is lean on oil, I suppose. Doesn't have a lot of oil in that fuel, then you'll have less smoke. So you don't really want to be taking the look of the plug. As I said, it will give you a small indication, yes, but you don't, in my opinion anyway, the reason why you don't hear people say look at the plug on it, because it doesn't really help you unless you do know what you're talking about. But for a beginner, it's not going to help you at all. What you need to be doing to get an idea of the health and how your engine's running, you want an ample amount of smoke through all the rev range, particularly at full throttle. You'll have probably a little puff when you pull away, and then it might thin out, and then when you're on full throttle and the engine's at full RPM, there should be clouds of smoke coming out of the exhaust. That is healthy. Okay, that is healthy. That is what you want. It must be smoke. It's a bit of a phase at the moment, because I don't know why. I think people have just decided to go a bit gay or something. I don't really know, but there's a bit of a phase at the moment. Nitro, by the way, Nitro is kicking off. Nitro is booming at the moment, yeah, as far as Nitro RC, it's booming. People just can't get enough of Nitro at the moment. It would appear that way anyway. But the phase is trying to tune your engine for no smoke, which just can't happen because it's not possible. And if you, well, you can. That's a lie. It is possible, but if you do that, the engine ain't going to last that long at all. You'll get no performance out of it, and it won't last long because it'll be too lean. It'll overheat. It'll have no lubrication, and it'll just die. So you want to tune for an ample amount of smoke. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And obviously the sound as well goes with that, and the performance. All three of those elements go together to give you an indication on how that engine's running. So yeah, I think hopefully I've answered the question. The question was supposed to be, can you use a glow plug to tell the state of your engine? And I know I elaborated quite a lot and probably got a little bit sidetracked, but to summarise, can you tell them with the glow plug? Can you use a glow plug to tell how healthy or how well your engine is running? The answer really is no. Unless you really know what you're doing, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, it's a bit black, must have been a little bit rich. Oh well, throw it out the window. A spark plug, on the other hand, is a massive indication tool. So don't get petrol and nitro mixed up. They are relatively the same, but different at the same time. Yeah. Anyway, I hope that you lot are enjoying your nitro cars, because as I said, nitro is absolutely taking off. My email inbox, my Instagram inbox, I've been on holiday for a week and I have been kind of checking it. The signal where I was no signal whatsoever. Get the odd blip of signal now and again if we went somewhere, but that was it. And I've come home and it's literally just packed full of people buying nitro cars, second-hand or brand new, getting into nitro, yeah. Even experienced people sending me emails and messages asking questions because they've got a new one or whatever. Man, it's been a crazy year for nitro, so that is great, man. People are just buying nitro all over the place. And if you need any help, the best thing to do is to comment on this video or any other video of mine. Just comment. You can email me, but then you only get a response from me. But if you comment, other people can put their experience and information in as well, and we can all learn stuff, and you might get different views from different people, which will allow you to make a really good informed decision on whatever the question is you're asking. So think about commenting to ask a question, and yeah, happy days. If you like this sort of videos, please stick around. There's loads of these. I like to try and help as much as I possibly can. My arm is aching because this camera's bloody heavy. I'll see you later on. Thanks for watching. Take care.